Maryland is doing something that I think we will see other school systems doing throughout the country. Now, we keep hearing about coronavirus will die down in the summer. It'll be less of it in the country, but it will ramp back up in the fall. So I guess they figure why bother even opening school and then you have to shut everything down again in the fall. Maryland is coming up with possibly doing all of public schools online. So this came out in the Baltimore Sun, April 8th, 2020. As Maryland coronavirus cases surges past 5,500, schools prepare for possibility of online learning into the fall. Maryland saw its highest daily spike in new coronavirus cases Wednesday, with more than 1,000 new confirmed infections, as the state's top education official said was preparing for possibly the public schools could remain closed in the fall. The state announced an additional 1,158 cases of COVID 19, the disease caused by the novel coronavirus overall. So the increase came after 2 consecutive days in which the number of new cases appeared to level off. Governor Larry Hogan attributed the increase in part to an uptick in testing and commercial labs clearing backlogs of tests. Logan said 30% of the confirmed cases added Wednesday were tests performed in March. Baltimore Washington Carter has become an emerging hotspot, the Republican governor said. An increase in new infections is just one of the reasons for today's significant jump in new cases. This is also due to our ongoing efforts to ramp up testing in Maryland, with more private labs coming on board and the expansion of commercial lab capacity. Maryland also reported 124 deaths from the virus, an increase of 21 from the total announced the day before. The cases continue to rise. The state's top education official said public schools must be prepared to continue teaching classes online into the fall and winter if the spread of coronavirus continues or the virus makes a resurgence. Speaking to a bipartisan work group of lawmakers, State Superintendent of Schools Karen B. Salmon said she is ramping up online and distant learning capacities in case schools must remain closed into 2020-2021 academic year. Some epidemiologists have said the state could see a second wave of virus in the fall. And y'all, that's the same pattern that the Spanish flu took. It started out early in the year. It fizzled out around summer, but when it came back, that second wave was deadly. That is what took out the 50 million people worldwide. It was that second wave that hit that was the hardest. I'm not sure we are going to be doing school in the same way going forward, Salmon told lawmakers. We're not sure that it's not something that we're going to revisit in the fall or the winter. I'm really focusing much of our resources on the expansion and accountability wrapped around online learning and distance learning. Now, are they going to be providing computers to students? If they're going to turn this whole school year into online learning, I'm just wondering. And I'm wondering about, because you believe it or not, there are still households in America that don't have internet because, a lot of these people are the working poor and they don't have that. I mean, I know that sounds like kind of out there, but there are a lot of people that still don't have internet at their homes. That's why they will go to your public library. You should see how crowded the public library gets around here because everybody's trying to get onto the computers. You'd be amazed at how many people don't have internet and don't have a computer at home. I know some people that have a cell phone. They got a phone and they access the internet, but they don't have a physical computer. So, that being said, you're going to have to either provide them with them, maybe give them a voucher so they can go to the store and get a computer or have one mailed to their house. But they definitely are going to have to think this whole thing through. I know some schools do provide tablets. I've seen that even around here. Okay, Hogan said in a TV interview that the state has not decided when school will reopen, if they will remain closed for the rest of the 2019-2020 academic calendar year. We're taking it on a week by week basis. He said, we don't know when this is going to peak and when we're going to get back to normal. I wouldn't hold my breath on getting back to normal. Cheryl Bost, president of the Maryland State Education Association, which represents the majority of the teachers in the state, said that if distance learning needs to continue for months, a number of issues must be addressed. For instance, laptops are not available to all students and staff members, and there are gaps in the training that teachers need to do the work, she said. Yeah, it cuts out all that. I guess they'll have to do their parent teacher conferences online too. And all of their testing. I mean, they do state testing. How are you going to do the state testing online? It's really interesting to see how this whole thing is going to unfold. This is showing us where our deficits are, which is good. If we are going to do this long term, we are going to have to do a lot to fill in those deficits, Both said. Salmon's comments came during a meeting of the Joint COVID-19 Response Legislative Work Group, a panel that is researching what steps the legislature can take to address the fallout from the pandemic. During the meeting held virtually, Senate Bill Ferguson said that 681 bills passed by the legislature during the shortened session that ended last month included a sweeping overhaul of the state's public schools, have been sent to Hogan's desk for consideration. The governor has 30 days to decide whether to sign, veto, or let bills become law without his signature. The work group, which is chaired by Ferguson and House Delegate Speaker Adrian A. Jones, also heard from Maryland Health Secretary Robert R. Neal. Neal said the health department has entered into an agreement with the University of Maryland Medical School and Baltimore to form an initiative that can test up to 20,000 people a day. The results will help inform Maryland's officials about when they can begin to lift restrictions on businesses and gatherings, Neal said. We're helping them stand up a testing facility that will have the capacity of 20,000 tests a day, Neal said. That will get us into the ball game for widespread testing. Neal also told lawmakers that the state now has at least 600 confirmed cases of COVID-19 at Maryland's nursing home. Hogan announced Tuesday that the formation of a strike team to bring the state resources to nursing homes to try to limit the spread. So, ladies and gentlemen, they're struggling with the same things that you hear about most states. The ventilators, there's a shortage there also in Baltimore and also with protective gear. So we shall see. I think Maryland may be setting the tone for the entire country on setting up public school in the fall just to begin online, where no kids, teachers, guidance counselor, none of those folks need to show up at a building anymore.